One of the most scenic patches of coastline in all of America is the coastal drive between the quaint village of Carmel and the historic city of Monterey in Northern California. Known as the 17-mile drive, the windy Pacific Coast Highway offers breathtaking, spectacular views where the California shoreline meets the Pacific Ocean. Just 8 miles from Monterey lies another windy road course, whose surface offers a special challenge to all who attempt to tackle it. This is Laguna Seca. And today we'll be watching as the Porsches, Lolas, Marches, and Jaguars of IMSA accept the challenge of 9 turns in only 1.9 miles. Hi, I'm Ed Bruce. Today, Brock Yates and Steve Evans will be in beautiful Northern California, Laguna Seca. While they're on the ocean, I'm here in the desert, in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Imperial Palace Hotel. We'll show you one of the finest automobile museums in the world. But before we see some of these special cars on display, let's go to Laguna Seca and hear more about today's GTP race.
Thank you, Ed, and welcome everyone to one of the cornerstones of American road racing, Laguna Seca. Now, this track has got to rate #1 for spectator viewing, whether here under the oak trees or at home on the sofa, for reasons like this. The section of the course called the Corkscrew. Now, this is not for drivers who may have a fear of heights or roller coasters. In fact, I talked to some of the competitors about that sensation of having your race car down there and your stomach up there.
Roller coaster. It's the first thing that comes to mind. It's Magic Mountain all over again. You arrive up there really fast. You're in top gear coming up the hill, maybe around 150, 160. And you drop it back into third gear and go over the rise, and gee, your stomach goes up to your throat, and then you settle the car and you think, gee, that's over, and all at once it's a left-right, and when you make the left, you're looking at trees and spectators and no road. And all of a sudden, wham, you drop down into the bowl there, and boy, it really settles you in the seat.
Well, what we're doing is actually going down to first gear at the top of the corkscrew. It's a very, very tight left corner. And then as soon as the car gets over the lip, it's getting so light that we're almost getting the wheels off the ground. And at that point, short shifting, putting it into second gear before you really need it, just so we can get a long run out of that corner.
The tightest turn here at Laguna Seca is the final turn, #9. It's a hard left-hander. Now, due to the Armco barrier and the low profile of the cars, the driver's inner 9 basically blind, downshifting into first gear, only about 25 miles an hour, coming within inches of that outside wall. Now, if a driver tries to pass you on the inside, he could push you into that wall. And if you make a mistake here, well, there's no rationalizing it to the crew because it happens right in front of pit row. The important thing, especially for the turbo cars, get the boost up as quickly as you can because you got a long front straightaway ahead of you. Let's go to Brock at the head of the grid.
Thanks, Steve. Down here in a crowded grid here at Laguna Seca. Behind me, the pole-winning car, 86 Porsche 962, driven by Bob Wallach, one of the finest sports car and endurance drivers in the world. Broke the track record to put that car on the pole. On the outside, the number 45 March Turbo Buick of Bill Adam and John Paul Jr., known to be one of the quickest cars in this business. Very fast accelerating automobile, bunch of horsepower, had some reliability problems up to now, and they hope they've got that cured here today. Behind him, Al Hobart in a Porsche 962, a winner on this circuit on a number of occasions. The new Ford Probe, the first time out for that GTP car. And behind him, the number 44 Jaguar V12 of Bob Tullius and Chip Robinson. They earlier had an in-car camera and gave us a ride around this incredible Laguna Seca racetrack.
Incredible is the only word to describe this track, Brock. It's not particularly long at 1.9 miles, but it offers some very interesting undulating real estate in the foothills above Monterey, California. And you'll remember this car. It finished second to its sister car, 04, in our coverage of Road Atlanta. It's the beautiful Group 44 Jaguar XJR5, 12-cylinder, normally aspirated engine, driven by team owner Bob Tullius and this young man from New Jersey, Chip Robinson. Chip was at the wheel of the green and white Jaguar with our camera on board earlier, and he took us for a lap around Laguna Seca. Here he exits the nice, long pit road out onto turn #1. 1 is a big sweeping left-hander that the drivers take virtually flat out. They crest the hill and head down towards 2.
We approach turn 2 in 5th gear at about 170 miles an hour. We give a small lift there, turn the car in, get back on the power hard. Then we go down to turn 3, and a little bit of a lift, turn in, get on the power hard towards turn 4, where we go down a gear, turn in a little bit early, and get back
on the power hard and try not to get too far onto the speed bumps on the exit on the way up the hill.
And now the drivers have got to look out for the next step. It's a big one. That area of the course we referred to earlier as the corkscrew. Dramatic changes in elevation as it twists and dives down through the oak-studded hillsides. It's scenic and scary.
When we get to the corkscrew, we turn in second gear, and then the track falls away and we get hard on the power again, and the car twitches around there quite a bit. And then we go up into third and head down towards turn 7, then up into fourth, down into turn 8. There's a bump on the way in, so we wait till after that bump, turn in, get on the power hard, come up to turn 9, hard on the brakes. Important corner because it leads on to the 2, 3, 4 long combination. You got to get out there cleanly with very little oversteer.
And now upshifting, heading for the terminal speed on this course under that bridge. That is the end of one lap of Laguna Seca. Our thanks to Chip Robinson for talking and driving us around this racetrack, and to team owner Bob Tooley in Group 44. A magnificent view of a legendary racing circuit.
Well, Steve, this is one of the real hotbeds of sports car racing, dating way back to right after World War II, when it all began at places like Watkins Glen and Pebble Beach, Monterey Peninsula just down the road where they began. Now they're on a permanent racetrack here at Laguna Seca, and we've got a terrific field of GTP automobiles. A Buick March on the outside facing off against Bob Wallach's purebred Porsche 962 on the pole. The second row, the brand new Ford Pro being driven by Klaus Ludwig, his co-driver Doc Bundy, and going solo in the Porsche 962 is Al Holbert.
As you know, Brock, Laguna Seca is steeped in tradition, including the title of this event, the Monterey Triple Crown, which dates back many, many years when there were 3 races on a single weekend. We've just got one to concentrate on here, but it still bears that legendary title, the Monterey Triple Crown.
And a lot of legendary race cars here as well. Porsche, March, Jaguar, and a newcomer, the Ford Probe, which starts third. Earlier, Steve had a chance to look at that automobile and its predecessor.
As you could probably tell from my reporting last season, I have a very special fondness for the front-engine Mustang GTP cars. Oh, but did they break my heart, and the hearts of the drivers and crews that surrounded the project. Imagine how high they were when they went out and won their very first race. Never to repeat. This car and its sister car performed so well, shattering track records, sitting on the pole, but always something would go wrong because the cars were so complicated. Well, to paraphrase one of their own advertising slogans, for the new season, Ford has a better idea. It's called the Probe.
Designed by Englishman Paul Brown, the Probe is rumored to be the most aerodynamically efficient race car ever built. Now, this is a mid-engine car as compared to its predecessor with a front-engine design. Over 250 hours were spent in the wind tunnel to achieve the smoothest design possible to reduce that drag coefficient. Now, it's interesting under the skin as well. It is modular construction. The nose module, which contains the front suspension, then the driver module. Now, this is all made out of carbon fiber. And lastly, the engine bolts to the underwing module. In the event of an accident, the car can be quickly repaired by replacing only the necessary module. All the air enters at the front of the car, is channeled through the side coolers, and exits these 2 huge rear ground effects tunnels. Now, you talk about a smooth design. The only thing on this car that interrupts the airflow are the cooling ducts for the rear brakes and the necessary driver's mirrors. Just about as smooth as a 747 aircraft.
She sure is, Steve, and carrying a single turbo 2.1 liter 4-cylinder racing engine. Brand new engine, brand new car in the hands of expert Klaus Ludwig. Getting ready to start here at Laguna Seca. Up the hill they go, warming up their tires. The final pace lap unfolding here. We'll be back with the start of the Monterey Triple Crown after this.
This special presentation of American Sports Cavalcade is being brought to you by B.F. Goodrich, makers of TA high-tech radials, and by Ford at your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
B.F. Goodrich TA radials. Update. For enthusiasts. Subject, TA technology. One brand of high-performance tires. One was rated first overall by Car and Driver magazine. The V speed-rated BF Goodrich Comp TA. First 2 in wet maneuverability and wet braking. And the The same race-proven technology that went into the Comp TA also went into the entire family of BF Goodrich TA radios. Sports coupes handle and corner precisely on TA radios. Trucks get outstanding off-road traction and quiet, comfortable highway performance. The fact is, the same winning technology that brings you the Comp TA also brings you a complete line of high-performance TA radios in many sizes, for many different driving styles and performance needs, including your own. BF Goodrich TA radios. We make cars and trucks perform.
Let it go. Get that feeling again. Have you driven a Ford? Then you don't know what you're missing. Have you driven a Ford? Driven a Ford? Have you driven a Ford lately?
We're back at Laguna Seca on the Monterey Peninsula in Northern California as the pace car brings the field for the Monterey Triple Crown race down at a very slow rate of speed, Brock.
Well, as they come out of that very tight right-hander, leading onto the pit straight, the flag is about 300 yards up ahead. And look at this. John Paul Jr., it looks as if has jumped the start of that number 45 March Buick, starting on the outside. As the field screams away, it appeared as if Bob Wallach on the pole balked a little bit, and it was John Paul Jr., always an aggressive driver, who jumped into the lead. And right behind him, Al Holbert in the Porsche 962, followed immediately by the Ford Probe, Steve.
Well, Bob Wallach had some problems at the start. He has fallen all the way back to sixth spot. Here we see John Paul Jr., car number 45, followed very closely by Al Holbert in car number 14, the blue and white Porsche 962. And just behind Holbert is the Probe, and making a move on the Ford Probe. In fact, he's going to pass him on the inside. That is Darren Brassfield in the Diatley Brothers Chevrolet March. A normally aspirated 355 Chevrolet is now in third spot.
So we've got a Turbo Buick leading it, a Porsche 962 in second, and right behind him, a big old American Chevrolet in a March. Also, so two Marches and a Porsche leader right now as they complete the first lap, heading up that little rise and over the hill past the start-finish line and down into that very fast turn number 2.
And there are no slower class cars in this race, Brock, for them to have to negotiate around. This is strictly a GTP race the way the drivers like it. Klaus Ludwig from West Germany, of course, in the new Ford Probe, standing by to relieve him if he wants him to, is Doc Mundy. I don't think you'll see any other driver in that car today but Klaus.
Well, some of the guys will switch off because of the points battle in IMSA, but there'll be a lot of solo driving. This is only a 300-kilometer race, so you could very well see a bunch of the faster drivers go solo, although there is a mandatory pit stop and an opportunity to change drivers while refueling and changing tires.
And Brock, this is not the first time we have seen John Paul Jr. in that March Buick out in front like this, but always something seems to go wrong and never the same thing twice. Now moving up behind Al Holbert comes Darren Brassfield, the aggressive young driver in that red Chevy-powered number 29.
From just down the road in Los Gatos, Darren Brassfield is very much a veteran here at Laguna Seca. He's a young man with a big future in racing ahead of him, but right now his sights are set on that Porsche 962 of Al Holbert just in front of him, and right behind him comes Klaus Ludwig in the Ford Probe, and following in fifth spot is Bob Tullius in the number 44 Jaguar. In sixth place is Bob Wallach trying to make up time after that bulky start.
Well, Brock, I don't think anyone has totally tipped their hand here yet, unless maybe it's John Paul Jr. running out front. The Porsche drivers, of course, have that boost knob in the cockpit. They can increase the horsepower anytime they want.
I would say that Klaus Ludwig is not going to fiddle around with any big boost pressures today. He told me earlier that the object of this event was to finish. This is the first time out. Ford people very well remember the bad reliability record they had with the front engine car you talked about earlier, and it's a major priority here at Laguna Seca to finish the race. So we could see Klaus Ludwig run very steadily. I doubt that he's going to try to challenge for the lead at this particular point.
Well, Al Holbert, I have a feeling, Brock, is going to challenge for the lead just as soon as he possibly can. Here we see number 45. That is John Paul Jr. leading it. Next through your picture will be Al Holbert, who is narrowing that gap.
Right up this big hill. Notice the Laguna Seca is kind of built on the side of a hill, and right here the cars are climbing and taking a lot of horsepower to get up here. And you can see the turbocharged cars tend to pull out a little bit on Darren Brassfield on this big uphill climb. Here he comes down through the corkscrew, that famous set of corners, as we watch the Ford 12 of Klaus Ludwig snake its way through there and down through this fast right-hander leading down toward the pit straight.
Coming out of turn number 8, headed down into turn number 9. Remember, we said it was only about a 25-mile-an-hour turn down into low gear. The Porsches, the turbocharged cars for that matter, have to try to get the boost up as they head out on the long front straightaway. Now, some of the drivers told me they came here geared to about 185 miles an hour, found that was much too high, that the top speeds are really more like 160, 170.
Well, we heard Chip Robinson say earlier that he was hitting about 170 miles an hour after he crested the hill at turn 1. But really, there's no real straightaway here, Steve Evans. It's really more a collection of very fast bends.
Well, Bob Tullius has the starting assignment in car number 44, and I believe we will see Chip Robinson get in at that mandatory pit stop. Klaus Ludwig still running very competitively in the probe in 4th position, and that's all they want to do. As you pointed out earlier, Brock, this is more of a development car to get the Ford probe automobile ready to sell to racing customers who could run the V8 as well as the 4-cylinder. And riding in the 8th position, the man who won the last stop on the IMSA trail at Riverside, Jim Busby in the BF Goodrich 962 Porsche. And look what's along for the ride with Jim. This is our live onboard camera, courtesy of BFG, being beamed to a helicopter and down to our remote truck, Brock.
And a terrific view as we watch him sail down into that slightly banked right-hander, leading down toward the final turn here at this 1.9-mile racetrack at Laguna Seca. A very sharp left-hander leading onto the pit straight. You said about 25 miles an hour earlier, and that's about it. Down into first gear, where the faster cars will then accelerate past the pits and on up to about 170 miles an hour, leading down into turn number 2 as we watch Busby negotiate that very fast section of this racetrack here, and now start to head up the hill. Right behind him in his teammate 962 is Pete Halsmer.
And those two cars, Brock, are running on street construction style radial tires. They really are more suitable to long courses like Riverside, where they can use those tremendous straightaways. As we said, they finished 1-2 just a week ago. Busby said they'd be happy here if they could get up to 5th, 6th, something like that on this kind of a terrain circuit.
As we watch Busby accelerate down the hill here at Laguna Seca, let's go to the race for 5th. That is Bob Tullius in the number 44 Jaguar, weaving through slower traffic, and right behind him is the number 86 Porsche 962 of Bob Wallach. Remember, he started on the pole, balked the start for some reason or another, and has fallen back now trying to make up that distance, Steve.
Well, whatever caused that car to run ragged at the start, Brock, has been corrected, because Bob Wallach in the 86 Porsche is pulling right up on the rear spoiler on the 44 Jag and makes a move. He's going to get around and take 5th spot from Bob Tullius. On a roll now is the Frenchman Bob Wallach. Well, he may not be a household name in America, Brock, but he certainly is in Europe and in other countries around the world. An endurance driver that rates right up there with Derek Bell, David Hobbs, and Hans Stuck, among the greatest the sport has ever seen. And of course, Bruce Levin, the car owner here, he will spare no expense to win this race at Laguna, or any other for that matter. He will just fly in the best available driver in the world. He usually co-drives with him, but not here at Laguna Seca. Brock Yates is down in the Bruce Levin pits.
I'm at Bruce Levin, the car owner and co-driver on car 86, and Bob Wallach started on a pole. And Bob, I'm sure you watched with a certain amount of agony as he kind of fell back. You've driven the car enough. What do you reckon happened in that start when he just didn't get a good jump?
The car has a tendency to want to load up and follow the plugs out, and that's what happened. We thought we'd solved the problem, but evidently not. You can hear it sputting and popping. So anyway, but it's a long race, and Bob's pretty good, so we'll do all right.
Yeah, I'll say he's pretty good. And pretty good also is John Paul Jr., who is still up front as he has been since the very beginning. That is the Turbo Buick March automobile. Behind him in car number 14 is Al Holbert. That is the blue and white Porsche 962. And what an evenly matched pair they are at this point in the race. But remember, it was John Paul Jr. who had a big advantage at the start, and he maintains just those few car lengths over number 14, Al Holbert. We'll be back for more of the Monterey Triple Crown at beautiful Laguna Seca right after this.
Have you driven a Ford? When was the last time you had the kind of car that brings the road alive? Have you driven a Ford? Then you don't know what you're missing. Have you driven a Ford? Driven a Ford? Have you driven a Ford lately?
I've got to get up on a ladder to change the air filter on this baby. And at my age, I don't like to do that too often, so I put in the Fram Extra Life. Lasts 50% longer than the old Fram single filter, but it doesn't cost any more. Inside, it works like two filters, an ordinary filter and an extra filter. You can get this double filter for your car, so why not put in the Fram Extra Life? 50% extra protection at no extra cost.
Now you can get rid of your bug-exterminating arsenal. Introducing Bug Away, the quick, safe, clean, odor-free way of ridding your home of bugs and pests. Bug Away's scientifically proven ultrasonic sound waves affect the nervous system of bugs and pests, causing them pain and discomfort, forcing them to leave your home. Bug Away is 100% electric, and its ultrasonic sound cannot be heard by humans and household pets, except hamsters, gerbils, and mice. Your dogs, cats, and birds are completely safe with Bug Away. No more chemicals and sprays which can be harmful to your family and pets. No more dead bugs or rodents to discover and dispose of. Bug Away is also ideal for restaurants, hospitals, garages, and nursing homes. Bug Away is 100% safe and effective and will rid your surroundings of fleas, mice, rats, roaches, flies, crickets, silverfish, water bugs, and most other pests.
Call toll-free 1-800-468-2700. To save COD charges, use your credit card or send check or money order for $29.95 plus $2 shipping and handling to Bug Away. Care of TV offer, P.O. Box 10030, Stamford, Connecticut. Satisfaction guaranteed. Call 1-800-468-2700. Operators are standing by for your call.
Back at Laguna Seca, the Monterey Triple Crown. I'm Brock Yates along with Steve Evans, our pal Ed Bruce down in Las Vegas, as we watch young Darren Brasfield make an early and unscheduled pit stop in his March Chevrolet. What a shame. The young man started in sixth spot, charged immediately into third place, and held it very authoritatively, and now it looks as if there are some major problems as he coasts to a stop.
And I would guess they're engine problems, Brock, because we saw some smoke off of the left bank of that automobile. Let's hope they can get back in the race. Here is Jim Busby, and you're along for the ride as he comes into that tight left-hander, turn number 9. Right on his tail is his sister automobile, Pete Halsmer, and Halsmer gets by him. Pete Halsmer has moved ahead of the team captain, Jim Busby, for the 7th spot.
A lot of passing done in that very slow left-hand corner leading out of the pit straight, and if you don't get off there real quick, somebody will dive underneath you, is exactly what Pete Halsmer did in taking the boss now up into 7th place. Pete Halsmer, a very experienced driver, run Indy, has run a lot of these sports car races, and a very solid competitor as we watch Busby now try to regain that lead. These guys are going at it, though, as if they didn't know each other at all. Not a whole lot of team spirit right now as Jim Busby stomps on the brakes and downshifts into second gear for the corkscrew. Twisting left and right down the hill now, shifting back up, probably hitting about 140 miles an hour down through that sweeper as he heads once again toward the pits and the place where Pete Halsmer got him. Let's see if Jim Busby can retaliate as they head down into turn 9, Steve.
Well, even though this is one big team, there's very little organization as far as where these cars are going to finish, only in very unique situations. Busby's deal with his hired drivers is everybody races to win.
And when they did earlier at Riverside, as you said, with Pete Halsmer and teammate John Morton winning overall. And that is the Darren Brasfield March Chevrolet. A crewman there has the valve cover off on that big Chevrolet engine, and it would appear that there are some very serious, possibly terminal problems with that very quick automobile, Steve.
Well, Darren Brasfield stays strapped in the car. He desperately wants to get back into this race because rumor has it that the Diatli brothers plan to just throw in the towel if the car does not perform well here. Now, here is the probe. That is Klaus Ludwig, still running very strongly in the 3rd position, even though that is a 4-cylinder engine, smaller than the Porsche motors. It has a 4-valve head, Brock, and IMSA requires it to weigh more than the Porsches by about 40 kilograms.
Which is roughly 80 pounds, and the Ford guys think that advantage ought to be taken away from the Porsches. But this is a very complicated scale of engine formula versus weight in IMSA. And if you've got 4 valves, you get more weight than if you got 2 valves, and 2 turbochargers get more weight than single turbochargers. As we watch once again, Jim Busby climb that hill at about 160 miles an hour. Is that turbocharged horsepower or not?
Well, here's another example of turbocharged horsepower because sneaking by Busby, putting him a lap down, is our leader, John Paul Jr. in car number 45, running sweeter than it has all season long.
But Steve, owner Phil Conti has said, like the Diatli team, that if he doesn't perform well here, he might withdraw. He's seen the car run very fast, but also brake a lot, and word is that he's just getting discouraged. And it is, of course, a terribly expensive sport.
And it has not been the engines at fault, Brock. It's been things in the drivetrain. Apparently, the McLaren-built Buick makes so much power that they're very hard on transmissions, half shafts, and all other drivetrain components. But John Paul Jr., he's not thinking about that right now. He is just flying as hard as he can because just a few car lengths behind him, right in second spot, is Al Holbert in the Porsche. Here we see the 04 car. That is Hurley Haywood in the Jaguar. The Jaguar is running as a train out there right now, Brock.
They sure are. They've run, of course, like this on a number of occasions. Look at this. Haywood down low tried to sneak past the boss, Bob Tullius, but he doesn't make it work. And as they go into heavy traffic, heading down toward turn number 2. So the Jaguars also won 2 winners here earlier, as we saw them take that victory at Road Atlanta. And they're, of course, hoping to repeat here at Laguna Seca. But right now, they're well back behind the turbocharged automobiles, which do have a big advantage on this big uphill stretch here at Laguna. That's where the horsepower comes into play.
Well, Bob Tullius and Hurley Haywood and those beautiful green and white Jaguars are battling for the 5th position right now. Up at the front of the pack remains John Paul Jr. in car number 45. Al Holbert behind him in car number 14. Then it is Klaus Ludwig in the Mustang Pro making its debut here in the 3rd spot. Bob Wallach in 4th. The Tullius Robinson Jaguar number 44 in the 5th position. Right now, let's rejoin our buddy Ed Bruce in Las Vegas.
Thanks, Steve. The Antique and Classic Car Museum here at the Imperial Palace Hotel has a wide variety of every kind of automobile imaginable. And like the unique and powerful GTP cars we're seeing from Laguna Seca today, there are a few interesting race cars on display here. This is a 1926 Sanford. This race car is a 1-seat cycle car, and it only has 3 wheels. It has a 4-cylinder Ruby engine and was manufactured in Paris, France. Really, this is a 3-wheeled motorbike with a scoop body. Notice how narrow the car is, and it has no windshield. It has 3 forward gears with a gear shift lever located on the floor between the driver's legs. The aerodynamic shape is wider in front and then tapers to a bullet tip in the rear. One feature of this little racing machine is that when racing time came, the pit crew had to use this crank start to fire up the engine. Brock, can you imagine what the starting grid of today's racing would look like with all those crews out there pumping on cranks?
Right, Ed. Can you imagine trying to crank start one of these 600 horsepower high compression Jaguar V12s as we watch the boss, Bob Tullius, still holding on over his employee, Hurley Haywood, as they streak down the hill here at Laguna Seca.
And Brock, meanwhile, our leader, car number 45, John Paul Jr., trying to pass Pete. And John Paul collects a big chunk of curbing and passing him on the outside, taking the lead away. Al Holbert in the Porsche 962, number 14. So John Paul Jr. appears to have things collected again, Brock, but he really smacked that curbing trying to get under Halsmer.
I don't know. It looks as if he slowed down radically. He may be in deep trouble with that March Buick. Yes, he is. I would venture to say that the left rear suspension has sustained serious damage with that bounce off the curb. He was under a lot of pressure from Al Holbert at the time, tried to squeeze it perhaps a little early to get by Pete Halsmer and sustained some bad damage on that race car. He could be finished for the day as we watch the leader now, the new leader, Al Holbert, unchallenged at this particular point, accelerating down the front straightaway.
And don't you know the competitors hate to see this happen, Brock? Al Holbert, he's so smooth. The car is so powerful. Once he gets in front, he's awfully hard to stop. And again, the Buick marches out of a race. This time, no fault of the automobile.
BF Goodrich TA Radials update for enthusiasts. Subject, advanced tire laboratories. Top speed, about 220. Tires, experimental BF Goodrich TA Radials. Cars, Porsche 962. The ultimate BF Goodrich laboratories for the ultimate test of tire technology. Racing. Watch TA Radials and Porsche perform today and see the technology of tomorrow. BF Goodrich TA Radials. We make cars perform.
Ralph Emery welcomes special guest Janie Fricke to Nashville Now. Wednesday at 4 Eastern, 3 Central, and 1 p.m. Pacific on TNN, the Nashville Network.
Live on stage from the Grand Ole Opry House, Charlie Pride, Gary Morris, Marie Osmond, Dan Seals, Vern Gosden, the Osmond Brothers. Just a few of the reasons we call it the Superstar Spectacular. Little Jimmy Dickens, Webb Pierce, George Hamilton IV, the Browns, Merlin Husky, the Country Music Legends. Two great shows from the Music Country Radio Network, June 12th and 13th, during the week of fanfare. Leon Everett, Becky Hobbs, Mac Wiseman, Jack Green, Kathy Mattea, and more. Two great shows for one price, $25. Make your check and money order payable to the Opry Trust Fund, Post Office Box 88, Nashville, Tennessee, 37202. With all proceeds going to the Opry Trust Fund, the money for your ticket is tax deductible. Both shows begin at 11 p.m. Johnny Russell will be there, along with Obie McClinton, Keith Whitley, Pee Wee King, and Red Stewart, Leroy Van Dyke, Jeannie Pruitt, John McEwen, plus many, many more. Two fantastic shows you won't want to miss. The Superstar Spectacular and the Country Music Legends, all from the Music Country Radio Network.
Just a few minutes drive from Laguna Seca Racetrack is a much more quiet environment. This is Mission San Carlos in Carmel, built in the late 1700s by the conquistador of the cross, Junipero Cerro. The Indians welcomed the gentle Padres into their life. Over 4,000 were converted to Christianity here at Mission San Carlos.
Well, Steve, the Mission is about to celebrate its 200th birthday, but in the meantime, let's go back to another of the great landmarks here on the Monterey Peninsula, Laguna Seca, where Al Holbert continues to lead it, and there is a frustrated and probably somewhat disappointed John Paul Jr. I think he knows that a little bit of eagerness down there in turn number 3 was the cause of his retirement, and surely that's a broken suspension on that March Buick.
Well, another benefactor of John Paul going out, of course, is Klaus Ludwig in the Ford Probe. He has now moved up into the second position, and I guarantee you that Michael Kranifus, the racing director for Ford and its special vehicle operations, is a glimmer of a smile right now, Brock.
Well, right now, he's just hoping for a good, strong finish from Klaus Ludwig as they head up the hill. But look at this, Steve. It looks as if he's starting to slow. What a tough break. Moved into second place, and now the race car is heading toward the shoulder of the racetrack here as they head up the hill of Laguna.
Well, Brock, he didn't hit anything. There's no smoke out of the automobile, no oil running out of it. The tires are all up. We'll just have to wait and find out from Klaus himself what happened. But the probe is parked, as is John Paul Jr.
Well, it's hard to say what the problem is. It could be the electronic ignition. They're very complex in all these race cars. As we watch Bob Wallach in the number 86 Porsche 962 head up the pit straight. Right behind him, Jim Busby in the other 962. And that is Wallach driving out front of Jim Busby's race car, heading down into that very fast turn number 2.
Now, Busby is riding in the 6th position. Wallach out ahead of him is 2nd. And Busby's got to be saying to himself, Brock, look at that Frenchman fly.
Well, Jim is a lap down at this point, and as Bob Wallach probably using that boost knob that you talked about earlier to make up that lost time. So Wallach definitely showing big horsepower here as he heads toward the corkscrew. Down that hill. This is the hardest part of this racetrack, without any question. A little bobble there, and you're off into the weeds. But right now, Wallach is driving flawlessly. His job, though, is to catch Al Holbert in another 962, and believe me, that is a formidable task.
Well, Bob Wallach has a reputation among the other drivers, Brock, as a guy who likes to use the boost knob. He wants all the horsepower he can get. He is just an incredibly good race car driver who has flown over for just one mission to try to win this race for Carl and Bruce Levin.
As we watch Klaus Ludwig climb out of the Ford Probe, obviously a disappointed young man. He drove beautifully. The car was behaving perfectly. I'm sure it was all going according to plan until suddenly something broke.
And they have put thousands and thousands of test miles on that automobile, Brock, and to have this happen under race conditions, very disappointing. But currently, the fastest man on the racetrack is number 86, the blue and white Bruce Levin-owned car with Bob Wallach at the wheel. Out in front, of course, is Al Holbert, but making up a little bit of that distance with every lap is Bob Wallach coming into turn number 9.
Let's not forget that Bob Wallach has won a couple of major endurance races with a man named A.J. Foyt. And a lot of people will tell you that Bob Wallach is every bit as quick behind the wheel of a 962 Porsche as is A.J. So he runs in very fast company indeed.
And of course, one of those races was this year's 24 Hours of Daytona. There's the Jaguar also moving up, trying to put a lap on Jim Busby. That's the 04 car with Hurley Haywood at the wheel.
As you can see, Jim is not running as quickly as he has in the past. He may be having slight problems with that car because that normally aspirated V12 of Hurley Haywood's just flying away from him as they head up the hill. And one would think that the turbocharged car would have an advantage here.
Well, of course, the big equalizer, the Jag engines are just about twice as big. Hurley Haywood has already gotten around car number 67, Busby. He's running in third. Busby a lap down. We're riding with him right now. Behind Busby running in fourth is the other Jaguar, number 44, Bob Tullius, also trying to get around Busby. And you're riding with a man who earlier described this corkscrew as like a roller coaster, and taking advantage of that roller coaster is Bob Tullius. Tullius and the number 44 Jaguar in fourth position has now also gotten around the Porsche of Jim Busby. So the Jags are running in the third and fourth spot behind a pair of Porsches. Right now, let's go down to the pits with Brock Yates.
I'm with Klaus Ludwig, who had the Ford Mustang Probe running so nicely, and then all of a sudden it doesn't come around. And what happened, Klaus?
I think we had a fuel pressure problem. The engine suddenly stalled, and I couldn't bring it back to running again, and that was it.
Just probably a very minor little thing that broke there, son.
Maybe something in the fuel system.
Well, that's too bad. You must be pleased, though, the way the car ran. I know you planned to run it easily, and you were running with the leaders, no problem.
Yes, that's right. I wanted to do it alone, and just took it conservative, not to be in a crash or so. And when I was second, I was really comfortable. So then suddenly it happened, and
well, we're sorry. I know we'll see you again, and I know we'll see you up front again.
I hope so. Sooner or later, we're going to win.
Oh, I know you will. Thank you, Klaus.
Thank you.
Well, it's got to be some sort of a relief to the Ford team to know that it's a minor gremlin called fuel pressure, something easily found and fixed. No problems for this man in car number 14, the 962 Porsche. That is Al Holbert. He is leading this race, the man from Warrington, Pennsylvania, who also serves as the director of racing for Porsche in this country. He and his father, Bob Holbert, himself a great race driver in the early days, operate a Porsche dealership in Pennsylvania. Now, Holbert had the IMSA title eluded by just a few points last year. He doesn't intend to have that happen again. In the longer races, he uses Derek Bell from England as a co-driver. The last race, Bell was unavailable. He had the talented young Al Unser Jr. along for the ride. So Al Holbert has got his sights set on the IMSA title for 1985. Well, here's the second place runner, Bob Wallach, Porsche number 86. And Wallach, yes, he is ducking down into the pits. This will be the first of the leaders to pit. Remember, Brock said earlier, it's a mandatory stop. In fact, let's go to Brock in his pit.
And here comes Bob Wallach riding in second place, the first of the leading automobiles to make the mandatory pit stop in his crew, ready to go. Bruce Levin, car owner and co-driver, getting ready. And a check and see whether Wallach is going to ask for relief. He says no. They're going to change the right side tires. These are the tires that they're going to take the biggest wear. 5 men, according according to the IMSA rules, permitted to work on the race car in the pits. As Wallach says, I'm going to stay, I'm going to go. So it's going to be a quick dash of fuel. The doors closed. Wallach back in the car, buttoning down the right side tires. Car down off the jacks. The last few gallons of fuel being loaded on board the Porsche 962 of Bob Wallach. Now, back underway. A good, quick pit stop.
Well, Wallach has lost his second place position to the Jaguar of Hurley Haywood, Brock. The 04 car now running second, and right on his tail is the team car driven by Bob Tullius in the third spot. So the Jaguars benefit from that pit stop, but of course they will have to do the same thing and no doubt give up the advantage they now possess.
In fact, that's exactly what's going to happen, Steve, as we watch Hurley Haywood in the 04 Jaguar head for the very tight pit lane here at Laguna. A lot of corners to negotiate. Very slow business as he comes to a stop. We know that they will make the driver change for the reasons of the point championship. And the man who will take his place will be one of the best in the business, Brian Redmond. So stay with us as the hunt continues here at the Monterey Triple Crown.
When you saw only one set of footprints in the sand, it was then that I was carrying you.
Footprints in the Sand, the greatest song since One Day at a Time.
One set of footprints in the sand. Oh yes, at last I understand. I believe in angels.
Christy brought you the #1 gospel album in the world. One Day at a Time.
One day at a time. Sweet Jesus, I've come back to say I love you one more time. I've come back to try to tell you one last time. Take me around, sweet.
Now, Christy's greatest hits on a 2-record set or 1 double-length 8-track or cassette tape. 20 of the most requested songs ever.
Simple little words, like saying I love you. I could spend a lifetime in a penny arcade. One more time for all the old times. Midnight blue, don't look so sad. I know it's over. One set of footprints in the sand.
Order Christy's greatest hits and favorites now. Choose the 2-record set or 1 double-length 8-track or cassette tape for only $9.98.
Use your credit card. Call 1-800-441-4343, 441-4343, or save COD. Send $9.98, a savings of $5 to Christy Lane, Box 654, Madison, Tennessee. Box 654, Madison, Tennessee, 37116.
Well, the Monterey Triple Crown race here at Laguna Seca has taken a sudden twist. It is bad news for French driver Bob Wallach in the 86 Porsche. A surprise crew finds Wallach back in his pit with mechanical problems. They had sent him out figuring he would run the remainder of the race. He was running a very strong second to our leader, Al Holbert, but now the aft section of the car is removed, the driver's door is open, and they have some problems, Brock Yates.
Well, it looks like it may be in the injection or possibly in the ignition system, but those engines are so complex, it's really difficult to tell until we are able to talk to one of the crewmen or perhaps to Wallach or Bruce Levin. They're now fooling around with a turbocharger, Steve. That very well could be the problem. These turbos are generally very, very reliable. You see that big single turbocharger sitting up on top of that engine. And here is another pit stop. It looks like it's more scheduled and more orderly than the other one now. That's Bob Tullius walking away from his car, and in the cockpit now, Chip Robinson, his co-driver from Far Hills, New Jersey. A Super V specialist, his first year in the big sports car, Steve, and he's doing very well.
He is indeed the newest member of the Jaguar team. Bad news in Bob Wallach's pit. He is out of the car, apparently done for the day with what we believe to be turbocharger problems. So Wallach, who was on the pole for this race with a brand new track record, gets some condolence from the crew on the fine job he did behind the wheel. Certainly nothing here could be blamed on driver, and indeed they are still looking at the turbo. Now here is a scheduled stop for Pete Halsmer in car number 68. John Morton, who co-drove to victory at Riverside with Halsmer, will get into that automobile. It is in this is exactly the lap on which they hope to pit. You have to run over 40 laps so that both drivers get points credit. So out of the car comes Hosmer. In the car goes John Morton.
These two guys are basically the same size, so they don't need any special cushions or padding to accommodate one or the other.
And you really don't lose any time in the pits changing drivers, providing you can get the change done before the crew is finished servicing the automobile. Hosmer and Morton have done that. They're about the same size, but they don't waste a lot of time adjusting belts and things. So getting a clean windshield is John Morton, the team hoping that he can get out there and find his rhythm very quickly in this race, as they're running in a good, solid position, higher up actually than they had hoped to. So John Morton rockets back out onto the 1.9 course, and down in the pits of a less than happy race driver is Brock Yates. Brock?
With Bob Wallach, who had a beautiful drive, sitting in second place, into the pits and then back out. And did the problem arise after you took on fuel and got back underway, Bob?
Just before the engine cut off, 200 or 300 yards before the pit, so I thought it was because of the petrol when I came in, but when I went out, I noticed that I had no boost. And this you cannot repair.
So it's turbocharger and gone, huh?
Yeah, it's gone, yeah.
Well, we're sorry. Excellent drive so far. Beautiful weekend. We're sorry.
So Wallach, who set a track record here at Laguna Seca, is out of the race. But you can bet somewhere in the world next week he'll be driving.
And here comes our camera car, Jim Busby, currently riding in the 5th spot. The camera's still rolling as he comes to a halt. He will get out and be replaced by his co-driver, Rick Newt. Like Morton and Hosmer, these two men are roughly the same size as well, so there are no seatbelt adjustments for them either. Two big, tall, rangy drivers. Very solid drivers, very solid friends as well. As we watch owner Jim Busby help Newt connect up his in-helmet radio and buckle up the belts. The windshield being cleaned, a lot of rubber dust and oil gets on these windshields, so visibility becomes a factor in the later stages of these races. Now the crew chief's hands in the air, the car down off the air jacks, and Rick Newt underway, trying to hold on to that 5th spot here at Laguna Seca. Rick Newt accelerating it out of the pits and up onto that hill crest here, turn number 1, rapidly getting up to about 150 miles an hour. Almost dragster-like acceleration for these turbocharged Porsche 962s. Now, let's go back to the pits with car owner Jim Busby.
Well, Jim, you told me earlier that you wanted your driver change to go quicker than the fueling operation. You did it beautifully.
Yeah, we had a tremendous stop. As I also told you earlier, we're basically here to get some points, and I think we're in a position to do that with both cars right now. So we're not disappointed. We wish we would have been a little bit quicker. Track's a little bit slippery for us, and my car had quite a bit of understeer, so not sure how Pete's car was running, but we'll finish right in the points.
You know, you see a lot of mishaps in the pits, Jim's little things, a guy still putting on a wheel when the driver leaves. I noticed your guys are trained. When each man is done with his job, he puts his arms straight up in the air.
Yeah, that tells the guy who's controlling the stop that he's finished and complete and double-checked. If all 4 guys don't come up and the fueler doesn't pull back, nothing happens.
Well, that's maybe a procedure everybody should adopt, because it's certainly a lot safer as well as more efficient.
Yeah, I think so. I've left the pits more than one time with 3 wheels.
Okay, Jim, hope you finish right up there.
Thank you.
And now it's this man, Al Holbert, in that immaculate Porsche 962 of his, way out front, a long lead as he sweeps down through the corkscrew, unchallenged at this point.
He may be unchallenged, Brock, but it's a good day for the 2 car teams. How about the Jags? They're running 2nd and 3rd. The Busby-owned Porsches running 4th and 5th. That, of course, is Morton and Newt. Right now, let's learn some more about vintage cars from Ed Bruce at the Imperial Palace Hotel in Las Vegas. Ed?
Steve, throughout the course of automobile history, car manufacturers have been striving for that perfect blend of performance, sporty good looks, and luxury. From 1911 to 1935, one company located in Indianapolis, Indiana, combined these 3 qualities very successfully in the production of classic automobiles. Here's a good example. It's a 1928 Stutz Blackhawk, manufactured by the Stutz Motor Car Company of America. This roadster is a perfect example of a luxury performance car. Equipped with an 8-cylinder powerhouse, the Blackhawk was a popular sporty version of the Stutz Bearcat, which was the Stutz race car. But equally impressive as the car's high performance is its luxury. like the finely upholstered leather interior, the beveled glass window in the convertible canopy, the wire wheels, and other little extras. Back in 1928, if you could afford it, and you wanted a combination of luxury and performance, the Stutz Blackhawk was the way to travel.
Well, Ed, the Porsche 962 is the way to travel here at Laguna Seca, but I'll tell you what, I'll guarantee you that Richie Klein and the boys at the Imperial Palace would not trade Holbert straight up for that Stutz. We'll be back with more the Monterey Triple Crown after this.
BF Goodrich TA radios. Update. For enthusiasts. Subject tire testing. The proving grounds, the racetracks of the world. No test track can prove out street tires like a racetrack, and no street tire technology has been more thoroughly race-proven than BF Goodrich TA radio technology. 1982, TA radios become the first and only street radios to win in class at Le Mans. 1984, TA radios win Le Mans again on a ground effects prototype car, feeding pure racing tires. Last year, TA radios won more professional off-road races than any other tire, more U.S. pro rallies, winning overall in all events. But even if we don't win, we always learn. The result, technology that's race-proven to bring you a complete line of TA radios for a wide variety of performance needs and driving styles. Making race cars perform helps us make your car perform. BF Goodrich TA radios. We make cars perform.
Have you driven a Ford? When was the last time you had the kind of car that brings the road alive? Have you driven a Ford? Then you don't know what you're missing. Have you driven a Ford? Driven a Ford? Have you driven a Ford lately?
I caught one. That's a big old catfish, folks, and it's easy to catch them with magic bait. Bite size, it's easy to put on the hook. The whole family can use it. My family goes with me on family outings, and even the children, even my grandson, can use magic bait, and we catch them old big ones, too. You believe Jerry Clower would lie to you? Woo! Magic bait.
When you visit the Monterey Carmel area of Northern California, you then know why John Steinbeck, the author, was so greatly attached to it. The beautiful harbor here in Monterey, just a mile or so from the famed Cannery Row. But about 5 miles from this location is a racer's paradise. It's called Laguna Seca, and we're here to cover the Monterey Triple Crown IMSA Road Race.
And at this moment, the leader, Al Holbert, drives into the pits for his one and only mandatory pit stop. He'll take on fuel, change tires. No driver change here, though. Al Holbert, the only man in the pits. There isn't anybody that could take over for him at this particular point. He's going to go the distance all by himself. But the question is right now, Steve, can we get a leader change out of this pit stop? We've got a young man, Chip Robinson, riding in second place in the Jaguar. He's got fresh tires, a full tank of fuel on the back part of this racetrack, and at the moment it's a race against time with Holbert trying to get out of the pits and preserve that first spot.
Well, Holbert had amassed such a lead, Brock. The answer to your question is no. We will not have a leader change. Car number 14, Al Holbert, thunders out of the pits. He is still in first place with the Jaguar of Chip Robinson here, the young bachelor from New Jersey, just 30 years of age. His first year of professional racing, he is running a solid second.
Well, notice that the racetrack has gotten quite clear of cars. We've had a number of retirements here at Laguna Seca, so there isn't anywhere near the kind of traffic problem that we had in the early stages of the event. So now, Robinson can really let it out with that Jaguar, and if he's got a chance to catch up, it will be now. Holbert, fresh tires, full fuel tanks in the same way with Robinson, so it should be a clear-cut race between two cars. And here comes John Morton in the Porsche 962. Right behind him, Rick Knoop, as they try to get underneath the new Nissan of Tony Adamowicz, and Morton bangs fenders with Adamowicz. That may slow down the Nissan enough. Yes, Knoop slides by down on the inside. Up ahead of him, John Morton. The question is, though, Steve, do you think Morton sustained some body damage in that little crash?
I don't think enough to cause him to come into the pits, Brock. It was not all that violent getting together. They just kind of slapped each other. I think the cars are durable enough to take that kind of a shot.
Well, you remember a few races back at Road Atlanta, we saw Al Holbert fall out in a similar situation where the oil coolers were damaged, but that was on the other side of the Porsche, so this could be okay. Right now, it looks as if Morton is running well. Just behind him, we watch Rick Newt saw his steering wheel down through that very, very treacherous and difficult corkscrew section here at Laguna Seca. So it looks as if John Morton survived that little bash with Tony Adamowicz.
Well, I'm sure they're smiling in the Jim Busby pits because this is a solid performance for these cars running 4th and 5th. No one's racing with this man. He is totally dominant out front. Al Holbert, number 14.
Running at a clear racetrack, unreeling very consistent laps. No apparent challenges at this particular moment as we watch him take that hard left-hander down into the corkscrew, driving with that normal precision that typifies Al Holbert's driving style. And now, let's go to Steve.
Contrary to popular belief, the Al Holbert operation does have a second Porsche. Now, you're not going to see this car in action here this weekend, and I don't know when you will, until Al can find a driver who's about 6 inches tall and owns a little bitty helmet and a little bitty fire suit. So if you know of such a munchkin, or maybe are such a munchkin, just apply at Al Holbert Racing.
Well, for you model builders out there, that's a perfect fifth-scale replica. As we watch, Chip Robinson, the number 44 Jaguar, set his sights on the 2 Porsche 962s of the Jim Busby team. That is Rick Newt at the wheel there. Right in front of him, John Morton, but right behind him is Chip Robinson, Steve.
And Chip, for his first year with Big Bore Machinery, has shown such style. Look at that. A perfectly executed pass on Rick Newt right in turn number 9. And now he just streaks away from Newt, headed after Rick's teammate, John Morton.
It could be that John is next. Newt and Morton, very experienced drivers. You don't get by them with ease, believe me. But right now, Chip Robinson is making it look relatively simple with just a lot more power, and it looks as if he's more hooked up on the racetrack, Steve Evans.
And I wonder also, Brock, if they don't have a big advantage when it comes to brakes. You wouldn't think that over the 962 Porsche, but we just saw Robinson outbrake Rick Newt in turn number 9. But outrunning everyone at the front of the pack is Al Holbert, the 962 Porsche number 14. Chip Robinson for Jaguar in second. Brian Redmond for Jaguar in third. Then the Busby team cars with Morton and Newt.
You're invited to the Cannery here in Nashville to be our guest for the television tapings of New Country. Among the stars you could see are the Osmond Brothers, Charlie Pride, John Anderson, George Strait, Gene Watson, and many more. You can attend these New Country concerts any weekday from June 3rd through the 14th. For information and taping times, call the Nashville Network Information Services at 615-883-7000.
Her streets are paved with memories, her roads are lined with dreams. There's magic in her music, come see what we mean. All roads lead to Nashville, you're never far away. All roads lead to Nashville, Music City, USA. See the Grand Ole Opry, clap your hands, see music growing up your land. All roads lead to Nashville, Music City, USA. Nashville, where the stars come out to play. Nashville, Music City, USA. All roads lead to Nashville, you're never far away. All roads lead to Nashville, Music City, USA. All roads lead to Nashville, Music City.
You're watching the Jaguar of Chip Robinson attempting to put a lap on the Porsche 962 of John Morton as they dive into turn number 9 here at Laguna Seca. Hi, I'm Brock Yates along with Steve Evans, Ed Bruce in Las Vegas. You're watching the Monterey Triple Crown, and you're watching, Steve Evans, a very strong run by young Chip Robinson.
So strong, Brock, that he is the only car on the same lap with our leader, Al Holbert, who's way up front there somewhere. Chip Robinson achieved such respect and form of Ford Racing that he now operates a company in New Jersey supplying cars and parts to other races. And this his first year as a full-time pro. Bob Toulius knows how to pick his young race drivers, doesn't he?
and he knows how to pick the old ones as well, Steve. This is Brian Redman, one of the great veterans in international motorsport. He is currently riding in 3rd place.
Well, Jaguar, the factory in England, is certainly behind these cars 100%, Rock, but the cars themselves are designed, built, and maintained at the Group 44 headquarters in Virginia, but they are, of course, powered by the legendary V12 Jaguar engine, which is running flawlessly here today and handling just like beautiful race cars also. Brock is right now down in the Jaguar pits with the man who started the race in the 04 car, Hurley Haywood.
Well, Hurley, you and the other Jaguar car moved up into 2nd and 3rd. Was it a waiting game with you? You had a couple of retirements. The Ford went out, John Paul went out in the Buick Turbo. Did you sort of expect that you'd lay back in the opening stages of the race and then move on as the field cleared up a little bit?
Yeah, we had a race strategy. We wanted to stick to it and not overextend the cars. The thing here is you can get your tires so hot and you blister them. We're running a soft compound, and you have to be very careful with them. So even with being careful, I lost a tire, a blistered one on my pit stop. So we're running real cautiously and slowly. We can't seem to catch Al, so we're just going to let him go and settle for 2nd and 3rd today.
So Hurley Haywood's job is done for the day. A fine job he did. Now in the 04 car is Brian Redman. Now, another team with a very similar battle plan when it came to not abusing their tires and running consistently, the Jim Busby cars, 67 and 68. Now, there's the 68 car. That is John Morton, and he is being followed very, very closely by his own teammate, Rick Newt. Now, these two cars are on the same lap, and they are racing for 4th. Now, in the car with Rick Newt, we see just ahead of him his teammate, John Morton. Newt would like to get around him, teammates or not. And this fantastic picture is courtesy of BF Goodrich, makers of TA Radials. We make cars perform.
As we watch Rick Newt dive down into turn number 2, he and teammate John Morton have been driving together almost nose to tail all day long. As we watch Morton first dive underneath one of the slower Porsche-powered automobiles and then head up the long back straightaway. Right there is where the power comes into play. This is a very steep uphill section here, Steve Evans, as they crest the hill. Now, just over the second crest, they're going to have to just punch the brakes and downshift and get ready for that left-hander into the corkscrew.
Well, Rick Newbrock doesn't enjoy the years of racing experience that John Morton does, but this is his home course, and he hopes to show that to John Morton.
Well, these two drivers, John Morton, one of the real professionals in American road racing, he's run all kinds of cars, and very, very competently as well. A steady driver, doesn't make many mistakes. Rick Newt dives in close to John Morton as they come off that turn number 9. He was out braking him for a minute, and I'm sure Rick Newt maybe thought he could get underneath him, but not to be. As these two cars streak past the pits, Steve Evans is caught up with a man that has fielded both of these automobiles. Let's go to Steve with Jim Busby.
Jim Busby has a $500,000 worth of Porsches out there fighting it out for 4th place. But are they really fighting it out, or is there some arrangement or discipline?
No, there's no arrangement this week. We just called Rick on the radio. He's in the 67 car, trailing the 68 car by about a half a second, and we told him to get on with it. Our team did. Pete Halsmer and John Morton, on the other hand, are going to fight with us because it's a point situation. Rick and I are trailing slightly in the points, and we really need these points right now. So we're going to fight it out. At this point, I'd say that we look a little stronger because Newt seems to be lapping just a little bit quicker.
Now, you could, in theory, I mean, you ride John Morton's jack. You could tell him to move over.
The real question is would he?
Well, right now, it's not a problem, Jim, because John Morton has himself about a 10-car length lead on Rick. Rick challenged a little bit earlier, but not to be. And John Morton holds off his pal and his teammate, Rick Newt, as we watch that car up ahead there. That is the team car. That's the automobile right there. The number 68 Porsche 962, John Morton, heading up the hill. Right behind him, the camera car of Rick Newt. These two automobiles, as we said, 4th and 5th place here at Laguna Seca. And while the battle goes on, let's let's take a moment and go back to Las Vegas with Ed Bruce.
Fellas, the Imperial Palace has over 450 automobiles in its collection. 200 of them are kept here in the museum, and the rest on a rotating basis are housed in warehouses in Las Vegas. We're going to show you one of these warehouse cars. It's a race car once owned by a very famous man. Many famous personalities are attracted to the power and speed of racing. This is a 1953 Allard, which was owned by the famous actor Steve McQueen. The Allard was a very fast sports car, and this particular one had a Chrysler Hemi 8-cylinder engine. There are two 6-volt batteries to fire up the engine and the electric fuel pump. It's really a beautiful car and sports dual side-mounted tires. This Allard was purchased by the Imperial Palace at the Steve McQueen Estate Auction. And although we don't know if Steve actually raced this car, you got to believe he took her out every once in a while just to see what she'd do. Brock?
I'm sure he did, Ed, and a wild ride she'd still give you, but not quite as wild as this one. This is the beautiful Porsche 962, Al Hobart at the wheel, leading it here at Laguna. Behind him, a pair of Jaguars. Behind him, 2 more Porsches in the hands of John Morton and Rick Knoop. We'll be back with more from the Monterey Triple Crown after this.
Years ago, a big engine job used to cost this much money. 5 years ago, this much. Today, this much. So now it's even more important to take care of your car right, including changing your oil and putting in a new Fram oil filter when you're supposed to. After all, a Fram filter doesn't cost much. A big engine job does. But the choice is yours. You can pay me now or pay me later.
Stop. Pay close attention to this first-time television offer not available in stores anywhere. It's the 16 country gospel favorites of the Chuckwagon Gang, a legendary name in American music.
I can hear those lovely echoes from the burning world. They fill my soul, they fill my soul.
Also, hits like The Church in the Wildwood, Now the Day is Over, Amazing Grace, or Shall We Gather at the River?
Shall we gather at the river?
Don't be left out. Order now. Here's how.
This special gospel collection with the Chuckwagon Gang is a must. Order now. Call 1-800-468-2700. To save COD charges, use your credit card or send $9.98 plus $2 postage and handling to the Chuckwagon Gang. Care of TV offer, P.O. Box 10030, Stamford, Connecticut. That's 1-800-468-2700.
Art is a way of life in the Monterey Carmel area, whether it's in the galleries in the lovely village of Carmel or right out on the sidewalk. If you happen to have an extra fish in your pocket, wander on down dockside and you'll find some hungry old boys just looking for a handout. The competition here is for grub, but back at Laguna Seca Raceway, there is quite a battle going on for the 4th place in the Monterey Triple Crown IMSA Road Race. It is between John Morton in the 68 car and Rick Knoop in car number 67. They may be teammates, Brock, but they're not acting like it.
Well, they sure aren't. That's Rick Knoop you're watching there sawing on that wheel, trying to grab up a little bit of distance that John Morton has right now in the 4th place car. We saw a little bit earlier, Knoop got in real close, but right now John just turned up the wick apparently, and he's walking away from Rick right now. But that could change because Knoop has gotten past that slower car back there, and he now has a clean shot at John Morton. So we'll see as they head up the hill here at Laguna. The interesting part of the racetrack is coming up. As you know, at the head of this crest of this hill, we've got the corkscrew and then that downhill section leading down into that very tight turn 9. That's where Knoop had a shot at Morton a little bit earlier. There goes Knoop down through the left-hander, then the tight right-hander. Now he's upshifting and heading down for the very, very fast left-hander and another right-hander that'll lead him into that turn number 9. Let's see if Knoop can catch up in this section. This is where he moved in a little bit earlier, but that's John Morton up ahead, and I don't think Rick's going to get a shot at it at this point. Nope. John Morton holds on as he heads past the very nervous, I'm sure, boss, Jim Busby, in the pit area.
And Buzz has got good reasons to be nervous, Brock. This team debuted at the Daytona 24-hour race. They completely destroyed a 962 Porsche, a couple of $100,000 worth. They had a problem at Sebring when they were comfortably leading the race, and a piece of debris came up through the floorboard and cut Jim's leg. They're looking for a good, steady finish here.
Well, it's always risky business when you let a pair of teammates go at each other without pacing. You can blister some tires, bang up the bodywork, get off on the dirt. And at this point, we heard Hurley Haywood talk about the hazards of blistering tires here at Laguna. It's a course that is hard on tires. Earlier, Steve had a chance to look at tire technology.
It's always been true that race tire development ultimately benefits the tires that you and I use on the street. But strangely enough, lately, some street tire technology has been invading the racing scene, and I'm talking particularly about radial tire construction. Now, this is one of the B.F. Goodrich racing slicks off of the Busby Nuke 962 Porsche, and this is a durometer that measures rubber hardness, okay? So let's take a look at the race tire. All right, durometer's out at just about 58, okay? Now, this is the right front street radial tire on their little runaround truck. Let's take a look at the hardness of this particular tire, okay? Very similar. Only about 4 pounds harder is the street tire than the race tire. And this is happening because as the aerodynamics and the ground effects and the downforce of the wings becomes greater and greater, they need a tougher sidewall, a stiffer sidewall. Hence, the street construction radial will work. Also, they need a harder compound tire. Now, this is a little misleading because when these tires are hot at equal temperature, this tire is going to durometer a good deal softer because the compounds are quite a bit different. But the race tire, the street tire, getting closer and closer together every day.
And these two cars are getting closer and closer. That's Al Holbert trying to put a lap on the 04 Jaguar of Brian Redmond, currently in third place, but a full lap down and in danger of falling back even farther to a man who has dominated this event, Al Holbert. Still, it's the two Jaguars in second and third, and the two Jim Busby Porsches in fourth and fifth. Stay with us. The Monterey Triple Crown from Laguna Seca continues.
B.F. Goodrich TA radials update for enthusiasts. Subject adhesion. When rain comes down, one tire stands up. According to Car and Driver magazine, first in wet maneuverability and wet braking, first overall is the B.F. Goodrich Comp TA, with race-proven technology for excellent wet and dry adhesion. And the same technology that brings you the Comp TA also brings you a complete line of B.F. Goodrich TA radials. No matter what kind of performance you want, we make cars perform.
Back when the Army was using piston engine helicopters, they asked Fram to design a special air filter to protect their engines against the dirt they kicked up when they landed. So Fram made this double air filter. Now Fram makes a double filter for your car, the Fram Extra Light. It works like a normal filter and an extra filter. It traps 50% more dirt than our old single filter, but it doesn't cost anymore. Fram Extra Light, 50% extra protection at no extra cost.
That sound is going to catch you more fish than you ever thought possible. Introducing the electronic fish caller, the world's first fishing lure to attract fish with electronic sound. Just cast it in the water and watch the fish gather round. They'll almost jump right into your boat. Because the electronic fish caller actually contains a tiny microtransmitter, producing an underwater sound that calls fish right up to the hook. Order your electronic fish caller now, and as a special TV offer, we'll send you the incredible Super Flat. And wait, there's more. Order now, and you'll also receive 2 Vortex Ultimate Minnows, all featuring the unique Vortex Action Enhancement System, so it looks, feels, acts, smells, and sounds like real-life bait. Bring home the big ones. Amaze yourself and astonish your friends. Order the electronic fish caller and your bonus lures now.
Call now for your electronic fish caller and bonus lures. 1-800-453-1901. To save COD charges, use your credit card or send $19.99 plus $3 postage handling to Fish Caller, care of TV offer, P.O. Box 10030, Stamford, Connecticut. That's 1-800-453-1901.
Weekdays shine on TNN. Share the fun and laughter when the gang drops in at the I-40 Paradise. Then, relive the magic of Nashville's musical past. Take a tuneful look back on Play It Again, Nashville. Next, music and dancing highlight the day. Step out with Jackie Ward and Company on Dancin' USA. And Shelley Mangrum brings you a perfect blend of country music news and music videos on Video Country. It all happens weekdays on TNN.
Back at Laguna Seca, it is still the race leader, Al Holbert, in the number 14 Porsche, trying to get around the third-place finisher. Put a lap on him. That is Brian Redmond in the 04 Jaguar. Running in the second spot, well ahead of Redmond, is Chip Robinson in the other Group 44 Jaguar.
Well, Steve, I would imagine that team leader Bob Tullius has pretty well stabilized the competition between these two guys. Robinson is holding on to second place. They don't want to risk that. I think they recognize, as we heard Early Haywood say a little bit earlier, that they can't catch Al Holbert, so they're going to just sit there and take their second and third place if they can. They're going to try to stay out of traffic. They're going to try not to race each other as we watch Robinson running on a nice, clear, clean racetrack. Not a whole lot of debris today, not a lot of accidents. It doesn't look as if the racetrack's got a whole lot of rubber down. Nice and clean, not much oil out there. We haven't had a lot of engines blow. And don't forget, in some of these long-distance races, we have some of the smaller classes running. Today, it's a pure GTP event, and that means that it's clear of traffic as we watch Robinson come down the hill. Wide open. Now he'll go through that sweeping right-hander and then get on the brakes real hard for that tight turn number 9. And then accelerating up through the gears past the pits. This is a very short but very complex little racetrack, Steve Evans.
It is indeed, Brock, but with Al Holbert running out there as smoothly as he is right now, all the other players can only hope that he has some sort of mechanical problem, as he did at the last race at Riverside. Now here's those same two guys, John Morton in 68, Rick Newb in 67. They are racing for 4th place, and I think maybe bragging rights on the Busby team.
I'm sure that's the case. The boss, of course, is the co-driver of the car that's back there in the 5th place, and we heard him say earlier he doesn't know whether Rick Newb could get by John Morton even if they told him to slow down. Rick, of course, a very competitive driver, been around in the big time for a number of years and has really a solid record. Not only that, we've said it before, but we'll say it again, one of the most affable and wittiest guys you'll ever see in the seat of a race car.
And thanks to Jim Busby, who has been his tutor for the last 3 or 4 years, he has had a chance to compete on a world-class basis. Last year in the Group C Junior competition in Europe, where they performed very well at Le Mans and a number of other tracks, ultimately the team winning that title.
So we've got these two Porsches, and here comes a driver's eye view. Rick Newb driving it hard down through that right-hander. Now on the brakes. You can't see his right hand, but he's making a couple of gear changes to get down into second, perhaps first gear, depending on the gear ratios on that 962. Now back up through the gear and accelerating past the pits.
Now the driver sits on the right-hand side of these race cars, but the shifter is in his right hand up close to the door where it's supposed to be.
Now, you might wonder why the driver sits on the right-hand side. Most of the European racetracks, and of course the Porsches designed originally for European competition, are clockwise courses, so most of the corners are predominantly right-handers. Here at Laguna Seca, it's a bit unusual. It's mostly a counterclockwise. We see mostly left-hand corners. That's a bit unusual for road racing, but in normal conditions, the driver being on the right-hand side gets a little bit better look at the predominantly right-handed corners.
Well, what Rick Newb would like in car number 67 right now is a better look at his own teammate, 68. He'd like to get that 4th place away from John Morton, but some lap traffic there have held him up a bit, Brock.
As we watch Rick Newb clip the apex on that fast, slightly banked corner, leading down into turn number 9. You saw the little number 1 on the side of the racetrack. That's a shutoff marker that tells the driver how far away the apex of the corner is so he can judge his braking better. That is Brian Redmond, currently in 3rd place, diving underneath that brand new Nissan V8 that has just appeared here. It's the first time out for that automobile. Very little testing for owner-driver Don Devendorf and his co-driver Tony Adamowicz. So they're using this basically as a test session. We watch, though, Brian Redmond, 04 Jaguar, working his way through slower traffic, holding on to that 3rd place, and he is going to have to be content with that, I would think, Steve, because Chip Robinson is well out front of him in 2nd spot, and of course we know who the leader is. Al Holbert way out front.
There is Chip Robinson. He is running in 2nd, Brock, and if anybody's going to make a position change, they better do it soon, because we are in the closing laps of the Monterey Triple Crown race. Chip Robinson. Oh, how proud Tullius has got to be of this young man. He finished second in our coverage of Road Atlanta. He's got a shot at another strong second-place finish today.
He's done very, very well. And, of course, there are dozens of young hot shoes who are aching to get into a car like this. And I'm sure that Bob had a hard look at a whole bunch of drivers before he ended up picking Chip. But his choice, as you say, was a very good one.
Now here is Al Holbert, and he is on the last lap of this race. 300 kilometers have almost been completed. The only thing really he's got to contend with now is some lap traffic. You see him get smoothly around that car number 6, and he has only got about a mile to go, Brock, to more points to add to his already point lead in the IMSA Championship Series.
Well, as Yogi Berra says, though, it ain't over till it's over, and he's still got a couple of more corners and some slower traffic to thread his way through. And believe me, anything can happen in motorsports. Slowly, though, cautiously, Al Holbert works his way down through the corkscrew. There is that slower Nissan GTP car. Tony Adamowicz ahead of him. Some other cars. You can be sure, though, that Holbert will take it very easy. No aggressive driving here in the last few hundred yards of this race.
But, Brock, you can't change your driving style too much, I don't believe, or otherwise you get out of that rhythm and you might inadvertently make a mistake.
Right, so here it comes. Off the last turn. Up the straightaway. Through the gears. The checkered flag is out here at Laguna Seca, and we've got a winner. Al Holbert takes it. The Monterey Triple Crown falls into the hands of the current point leader in IMSA GTP Championship Racing, Al Holbert.
Now the race for 4th position between John Morton and Rick Knoop. Well, here is Knoop right up on the rear spoiler of John Morton as they come down through the corkscrew. Knoop is going to go for it, Brock.
He sure is. This could be a very, very interesting finish. You've got to know that car owner Jim Busby is chewing his fingernails as his 2 young Tigers go at it, coming down off the hill, heading into the final turn. Rick Knoop trying to dive underneath John Morton. Can he do it? Drag race to the finish line right now. This will be it.
No, he is not going to do it, Brock. John Morton is going to finish ahead of Rick Knoop, as he did winning Riverside the last race on the IMSA circuit. So the checkered flag has finally come out and decided 4th place. It goes to John Morton. 2nd place to Chip Robinson in the Jaguar, who co-drove with team owner Bob Tullius. In 3rd spot, another proud Jaguar. That was Brian Redmond, his co-driver Hurley Haywood. No question about the winner, though. Al Holbert, 962 Porsche number 14, heads for the winner's circle on the side of the hill here at Laguna Seca. We'll be back for the celebration.
TA Radios update for enthusiasts. Subject, off-road traction. More professional off-road races and more pro rallies were won last year on the same BF Goodrich TA radios you can buy than on any other tire. One reason, traction. Another, durability. And that same race-proven technology goes into a complete line of TA radios for many driving styles, including yours. BF Goodrich TA radios. We make cars and trucks perform.
Hello? Kraft Company? About your macaroni and cheese. Tell 'em, Annie. We think it should be called Kraft Cheese and Macaroni, because it tastes the cheesiest. What'd they say? They'd have to change a million boxes.
Kraft Macaroni and Cheese has more cheese than any other brand. That's why it tastes the best.
There's one. 1,000,000 boxes? I think we're gonna need more crayons.
Kraft Cheese and Macaroni, the cheesiest.
Sunday, travel with Bobby Lord and his special guest to some of the finest fishing spots in the world for a relaxing half hour on Country Sportsman. Then stay tuned as host R.C. Bannon and reporter Steve Evans learn the latest automotive information on Performance Plus. Sunday, catch Country Sportsman at 2 Eastern, 1 p.m. Central, 11 a.m. Pacific, followed by Performance Plus at 2:30 Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Central, 11:30 a.m. Pacific on the Nashville Network.
If there's such a thing as Mr. Porsche in this country, it's this man, Al Holbert. He has won today the Monterey Triple Crown race at Laguna Seca. Brock's with him.
Okay, out he comes. Congratulations, Al. Super job. All right. Great job, man. Excellent. Solo drive. Any major problems along the way?
No, thanks. Everything was quite good. It's really nerve-wracking. I wouldn't want... what was good for me was maybe not so good for the fans when they didn't see so many cars, but really, in the long run, I think it's the best format because had Johnny not gotten over there, I think we would have raced all the way to the end.
Could have been a super race. Yeah, were you catching him at all? Did you feel you could run with him when he was...
Yeah, I knew where I could collect him, and he was starting to get pushing a bit coming down the hill, and I knew where, which is ideal because if I could gain ground on him going into 9, that'd be my best shot. But you know, he was hooked up pretty well through the fast 2 corners over there, and unfortunately, that's where he got in trouble.
Well, good job, super. Congratulations on a great victory.
Brock, I'd really like to thank my guys. We had fun this week, and this is just, I think if we hadn't won, it's easy for me to say, but we still would have had fun, and that's what it's all about.
It sure is. Congratulations again, Al.
Thank you.
And now let's go to Steve with a second-place finisher.
Well, Chip Robinson, this is the second time in, 3 races that we've met like this?
Yeah, it's nice to be in the victory circle. You know, I'm still waiting for my first win in IMSA. Hopefully that'll come pretty soon.
Well, they say there's first place and no place, but that's not really true when you're contending in a points overall season battle.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Points are important, and you want to be at the top, you know, for the points for this year, but you still want to win.
And to try for a real taskmaster like Bob Tullius, you're expected to win in many ways.
Yeah, that's right. You know, he's tough to work for. He demands a lot, and I personally enjoy that. I like that from an employer.
Well, I have a feeling that first one is not far away.
I hope not.
Okay, let's go to Brock, who's with the third place finisher.
Thanks, Steve. I'm with a third place automobile driven by Brian Redmond and Hurley Haywood. Hurley, you're closest, although Brian finished it up. Good job.
Oh, thanks. It was an effort. The car really wasn't handling so good. We were having trouble with our tires, but Brian hung in there, and we finished third, so it was good for us.
Well, Brian, I know that you're probably never really happy with a third-place finish, but nonetheless, it could have been worse.
Well, it's better than nothing, and it'll probably please the people at Jaguar back at home, you know, that both cars finished.
Any problems at all, Brian?
Not really, but the car was difficult. It was sliding a lot. At the slightest bit of throttle, it slid away, and maybe it was just the track. I guess it was the same for everybody.
Well, our congratulations to you both in any case.
Thank you.
A great drive by those. Oh, look out, Brock. You've got some incoming artillery from a very happy winner. He is still having fun. That's Al Holbert. What a victory today. The Jags, they can be proud of second and third. The Busby Porsches, fourth and fifth. They're pleased as well. Thanks for joining us at Laguna Seca.
The executive producer for American Sports Cavalcade is Harvey M. Pallage. Produced and directed by John B. Mullen. This special presentation of American Sports Cavalcade has been brought to you by B.F. Goodrich, makers of TA high-tech radials, and by Ford and your local Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Take a trip with us to our northernmost neighbors as Canada's country gentleman, Tommy Hunter, offers you country entertainment at its best.